Hello, everyone. This is Frank Madrigal, president and founder of True Function Laboratory. And I wanted to share with you a few solutions that we might have for three very common challenges that you face when making oral devices. A little bit about True Function Laboratory. We first opened our doors in 1999. So we've been around for a few years now, and we only specialize in oral devices. So sleep apnea devices are the majority of our services. We also do TMJ splints and occlusal guards. And of course, as digital continues to grow, we look forward to supporting you in that growth. Our mission is to deliver peace of mind by providing products and services that are true to fit and function. So what does that mean? To me, peace of mind means making sure we communicate with you on a timely manner on your cases. Also, delivering your device on time or early. We do have one of the fastest turnaround times in the market. Making the device right the first time. Things like that to make your life easier and save you chair time as well. So again, we're going to look at solutions for three common challenges with oral devices. One of them being a lack of retention. I imagine you've had a patient that might have called you, that device is no longer in their mouth in the morning, or when you go to deliver it, it's just extremely loose. Vertical challenges. The lab calls you stating that they need more vertical, or you just get a device from the lab and they raise the vertical for you, which causes a huge anterior open bite, for example. And another challenge would be, heavy grinders or bruxers that tend to break appliances. So what if retention is low? In the example of the above picture, the teeth don't have enough undercuts, not much to hold on to. In the picture below, there's a bunch of missing teeth. So obviously we're going to have a challenge with the device staying in the mouth. So what are the desired material properties for cases like these? Well, we certainly want it to be retentive. We want it to be relineable, adjustable, for example, with ball clasps, possibly. And we want it to be versatile. So we may not want to use a 3D printed device in a case like these, especially the one below, because it's very difficult to modify and possibly impossible to get it to fit quite right or to stay in the mouth. All right, so for low retention cases, these are some of our product offerings or some options in terms of our materials, starting with acrylic with ball clasps. Acrylic, of course, is the classic material used for oral devices. It's very commonly used. Dentists are used to working with it. So that would be one of our go-to options in terms of material. So if we get a, dual laminate or a milled appliance or something, an appliance where there's just not enough retention, we might have a specific case. Milled PMMA could be another great option. So PMMA, again, is a very dense form of acrylic. It'll still bond to acrylic, so you can still reline it and modify it and grind on it and polish it relatively easily. So that's a good option. Thermocryl liner, which is a picture at the bottom, that's that milky colored material. It's remoldable simply by putting it in hot water. And if your patient is adamant about getting that Panthera device, there's an option of adding composite buttons to the patient's teeth to aid in retention. When it comes to devices, you will see a common theme in our recommendations. So in case of low retention, we typically will offer one of the ones on the list. And the reason for that is most of these devices are not hooked together in some way. For example, the tap devices are hooked in the front. So if the patient is missing multiple teeth in the anterior, well, the device will tend to dislodge. In the case of an EMA, the elastics are in the lower posterior and the upper premolar canine area. So if we have missing teeth in those areas or lack of undercut, then that device would tend to dislodge. So a dorsal type device, or even a Herbst type device that can engage to bring the mandible forward, but is not, hooked together, is a good option for patients that are missing multiple teeth. So let's talk about the bite registrations. You might take a bite that is 6, 7, 8, 10 millimeters in the front, and you figure we have enough vertical. And then it comes to the lab, and either the lab calls you to request more vertical, or they raise the bite for you. They do you the favor of raising the bite, and then the device, doesn't fit well. So if we have a low vertical, we want material properties that will allow us to keep the vertical low. So we want a resilient appliance. We want it to be thin, and we want it to not break in a few weeks. So what are the material options for a tight vertical? A device that might be prone to breaking because we just don't have enough space between the molars. Milled acetal is an excellent option. We're doing more and more of those in night guards and some sleep appliances. 3D printed nylon, of course, is a proven material that's extremely strong and holds up very well. And then we have thermoform. So could be a suck down, could be pressure molded material that looks much like an Essex retainer or an Invisalign retainer, which is a little bit thicker. And then we built the device over that. So what are the device choices? Well, again, I mentioned acetal resin. So there's an example of our acetal dorsal. It is adjustable just like your classic acrylic dorsal, but we have the strength of acetal resin. And it's also 1 millimeter thick, so it's very, very thin for the tug space. Thermoform materials, again, we do offer a thermoformed true dorsal and a thermoformed true Herbst. That allows us to keep the vertical low, about 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters per arch, which is excellent. And of course, the EMA Custom, which is made from a thermoform material. Excellent options. And when it comes to 3D printed devices, we have the Panthera DSAD and the Panthera X3. So what if your patient calls you or comes back with a device that looks like one of these? There's a good chance they're a heavy grinder, heavy bruxer. So what do? What options do we have? Well, the material properties we would like for a case like this are one that, of course, is fracture resistant, that is strong and resilient. So here are the materials that we would recommend at True Function. Again, I bounce back to milled acetal. Acetal is an amazing product. We started using it several years ago to make frameworks for partial dentures. And it was pretty amazing. So metal-free dentures we were making out of acetal resin. A few years later, we decided, hey, this stuff is strong and holds up real well. It's highly polishable. Let's use it for some of our appliances. So we started using it for some of our TMJ appliances and our night guards. Again, a night guard made in acetal is 1 millimeter thick. So it's amazingly thin and it's strong. 3D printed nylon, of course, it's a great material choice as well. Panthera is an excellent example of that. We also now have the Oventus Optima. It's a great 3D printed nylon material. And milled PMMA, if your patient wants to wear something that does not stand out like a sore thumb, because acetal and nylon are opaque, the clear milled PMMA is definitely stronger than your traditional acrylics. So it'll hold up very well. Great wear resistance. It's beautiful and clear like glass. So it's a great option for someone that has to wear an appliance during the daytime. And then I think about the triple laminate for a heavy grinder as well, but specifically for one device. So appliance or device choices for a heavy grinder, we might look at, again, when we're talking about a triple laminate, I'm thinking of the Dream Tap. The Dream Tap allows a good amount of left to right movement. So I think it's an excellent option for a Bruxer. Some of our clients love it for that reason. Of course, again, the strength of the milled acetal is wonderful, and the adjustability, the ease of use, because it's very much a dorsal design. And then we do have, again, the Panthera choices, the Panthera DSAT, which is a proven product, it's been around for a while, and the Panthera X3, which is the dorsal design of the Panthera. Great. Well, I hope this information was useful to you, and please feel free to reach out if we can, provide any guidance in your appliance design choice, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.